All right, we are live, and the New York Mets scored some fucking runs last night. They fucking took it easy on us. I'll tell you, there was a point last night where I was like, this is just going to be our lives for the rest of the season, where we're grinding out 1-0, 2-1, 3-2 games. And it's not a negative thing. It's just like when your offense does not produce, your butthole is clenched the entire fucking game. At least if you're getting some offense, even if the pitching sucks, you kind of go back and forth and it feels like a fucking sport. But what we just went through it's basically like 10 games. It was 6-4 stretch. It felt like it was like a 2-8 stretch at best. It was an absolute fucking pressure cooker. And again, obviously you have the Braves to start that. The Cubs series was a fucking comedy of nonsense. And then this Padres series against a good Padres team, where even Jolie at the end, I'm like, you motherfucker, don't you dare do that. But luckily, we had our Coors Lights to help us chill out. We have talked about it for a year. It's the beer that's made to chill, and it's the official beer of everything unofficial. You have your barbecues, you have your graduations, your weddings, like Kyle, that sick motherfucker, and everything is going to be all right as long as you have your Coors Lights. Get those Blue Mountains ready for the summer here. Again, what summer activities do I like to drink my Coors Light to? Mets baseball, still in first place, still the champions of the NL East as currently constituted, and everything's going to be fine. And the best of all, you can make the most of your summer with a chance to win exclusive chill merch, fun local experiences, or even a trip to New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles. Enter to win at CoorsLight.com/believe. Again, that's CoorsLight.com/believe. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends August 15, 2022. Game ends September 6, 2022. All 50 U.S. states plus Washington, D.C., 21 or older only. Void where prohibited. For rules, visit CoorsLightSummer.com. And when we're drinking our Coors Light at the parade with our cake and our punch, what are we going to do? Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. It's your pal Clem. We got Meek Phil. We got Kyle. KFC is going to try to come on right now. He's in La La Land. And it's the Padres recap, little trade deadline stuff, but it's also the Yankee preview. And I said, Kevin, we cannot have a Yankees preview without having you on, even though he's just going to talk about Juan Soto and scream at other Mets fans that have the least bit of negativity in them. I need that Yankees hate in his system, because I've blocked the Yankees from my brain, because it's just the only way to go. That's how I live in Cohen, Liana. I look at all the fucking 75-degree sunny days. I'm not worrying about the clouds in the distance and a fucking team that is – what are they now? The Yankees have slowed down a little, haven't they? I feel like they've cooled off a bit.
5-5 over the last 10.
There you go. I know that they lost King, right? Is he out for the season?
He's out for the year, yeah.
He's out for the year. We're not catching Cole or Nestor by the grace of God. So it's going to be a little crazy. And that's the other thing. Subscribe to the YouTube. Even if you guys don't watch us, subscribe there. We got some good shit coming. We had some good shit at the Barstool, the ballpark this week. Phil was with me. Got the Captain America, David Wright has been secured. Coming up, Barstool, the ballpark on August 6th. Mets Braves, game 2 of the doubleheader. That's the game we're going to be going to. It's the night game, obviously. You go out, you responsibly drink your Coors Light before you head out to whatever shenanigans you're going to do around the city. And you're going to get a Jacob deGrom bobblehead for free, because Uncle Stevie just keeps hooking up these Saturday nights. Like, Stevie, we're going no matter what, but I'm not going to complain. It's a strikeout counter. So you can either keep track of his strikes out during the game. People are saying you can keep track of his career strikeouts. Whatever you want to do, you're getting a Jacob deGrom bobblehead. You're getting a ticket to a Mets-Braves game. It's going to be after the trade deadline. It's going to be a Saturday night. This is the game I want to scare the shit out of the Braves when they go, oh, fuck, I do not want to come here in October, because there is a fan base that has finally been awakened by $14 billion, and we're just going to scream our brains off. We're going to have our Coors Lights running through our systems, $100 for a ticket, $18 worth of food, all you can drink from 6:10 to either the 7th inning or 9:10, whatever comes first, and a fucking free Jacob deGrom bobblehead. Can't go wrong with that. But before we get to that,
games against the Braves, you're going to want right in the middle of that, because it's going to be sold out, packed out. Also, August 2nd, we're doing our second bar watch at Blue Haven East against the Nationals. They're going to be in D.C., but we're all going to get together again in the bar over there, starting at 7 o'clock.
Yep. So now that we got all the good stuff taken care of, the house cleaning or whatever they say, let's get into that series. I think this is going to sound crazy to say. I think I might fear the Padres more than any other team in the National League right now, just because they played us tough. It doesn't make sense, but am I crazy to think that, Phil? I don't think the Padres are like the best team that we faced, but I feel like they give us more problems for whatever it is with that. There's nothing terrifying without Tatis this whole time.
We just could not hit their pitching at all. Like the first time we played the Padres, we crushed them. Eduardo Escobar hit for the fucking cycle. I thought I was like, okay, this is gonna be an easy team to beat. We were wrong. We could not hit them after that until last night. So
yeah,
there was no single game this season that I was less confident in than game 2 because I didn't even know who they were running out there after Snell. I literally just went, oh, he's a lefty. We're not going to get a hit. Oh, he's a lefty. We're not going to score a run. Didn't matter. Could have been a completely no-name guy. We could have taken Joely Rodriguez from our team, put him on that team, and suddenly now he's pitching well and they can't hit him. It's a problem. Yeah. It's a big problem.
It's a problem. And I'm just not going to learn people on the Padres names. It's been that way since like they were in the World Series in 1999. And I was like, and it was like the no-name Padres. It's late at night. I was like Trevor Hoffman and Tony Gwynn were the only 2 guys you knew. I guess, I don't know if Cam Maniti was there, but they always have like, you always know like 5 guys on the Padres at any given time. And it's the other 20 guys that are going to motherfuck you. I know Eric Hosmer. I hate Eric Hosmer. Like, Eric Hosmer is weird because he's a better player than like your Paul DeJongs, but it's like he's in that weird Mets killer where he actually is a name. But I'm at the point now where it's like Hosmer and Manny Machado just scares me. He has the batting stance. He's a big dude. Those 2 guys scare me almost more than anyone else in the National League right now. So I'm very happy we don't see San Diego Padres again the rest of the season. Cookie, what's your cookie rating from last night? Because it's like I bit it. I thought I like lost a molar in it, and somehow it turned out just fine. It was the weirdest fucking thing I've ever. What are those Stelladora cookies? You know what I'm talking about? They're really hard. You bite them. I think it's like an Italian cookie, and it's so hard you bite it, you think you lose a tooth in it. And you're like, oh, this shit is actually tastes really good. That's the only way I can describe Cookie Carrasco's, and I've seen that from the Mets fan point of view a million times, where it's like I can't believe we didn't hit this guy, and then we end up getting our doors blown off by the end of it.
It's like every inning was like walking on eggshells. Like first inning, bases loaded, 2 outs, and then it's like first and second 1 out. It's like it just felt like he was just waiting to go up a run every single time, and they just didn't score off him.
He had 1 strikeout.
Yeah,
2 walks and 1 strikeout. It was like the most unassuming stat line for a shutout of 5 innings. I'm like, he's when he's healthy, he does know how to pitch, and when he's away, he sucks. So yes. The second that happened, I was like, all right, well, at least they're not there. That's the only saving grace because you can tell me 100 out of 100 if he's in San Diego doing that, they easily score on all those innings.
Yep. And shout out to my boy here, Vinny Bag of Donuts here, Biscotti Cookies. That's exactly what it is. Need a coffee to soften it up. Yeah, that's what Cookie was last night. But, I mean, the one thing you'll take out of this series is the starting pitching pitched their absolute dicks off again. If the offense could have shown up for any of those, and I thought we were going to hit Snell hard because they hit him hard in San Diego. And even we were at the game. It's always harder to tell exactly what's going on when you're at Barstool, the ballpark. You're bullshitting, all that kind of stuff. I still thought we could have just hit him harder. I don't know. You know what it is? It's because Eduardo Escobar should just be a righty nonstop. And just having a guy who is an absolute zero for you potentially contribute. Obviously, he didn't. But as long as our guys are pitching and they're staying healthy, that's all that really matters. It looks like Peterson is going to potentially get some time in the pen. I think Peterson's important to have there, especially I think we might have seen the last of Joely Rodriguez for a little while, which, by the way, Castro, is he out for the year? I feel like he got hurt pretty recently.
I don't know how long he's out for, but he's out for a while. Basically, the trade's a wash on both ends.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Either team's sitting there thinking like, oh, we got a good deal out of this. Both of them are just like, we don't care.
Where's Adonis Medina? That's what I want to know. Where's Adonis Medina? Because every time they put him out there, he does well, and then they send him back down, and we never hear from him again.
Maybe he'll be up after August 2nd, or maybe he's a trade chip for somebody else. I don't know.
It's unbelievable. Oh, we have a who's who of people that we don't trust. We trade Holderman, and then you have this other guy who people like, and that's very rare for the Mets bullpen, and then they still leave him down.
So we could touch on trading Holderman for Vogelbach.
Yeah, let's talk about that now. Let's talk about the Holderman trade because I almost wanted to do an emergency pod for that, but It was Friday night and everyone was kind of moving around. I wasn't even home at the time, but I think we have to talk about that because people are losing their minds. We had talked about it a little with Castellani in terms of Vogelbach smashes righties. He drops bombs. We've heard from multiple people he's like the greatest teammate of all time. He's like an electric teammate. He's just as much as you would hope with the bigger, sexy, kind of a fun, big guy that can do shit, in the clubhouse. And he fucking draws walks. His baseball savant profile, I'll try to pull it up, was incredible. And he was traded. So we see Vogelbach comes to the Mets. Everyone's excited. They trade Colin Holderman, which for any Mets fan, it's like to have this like found money of a bullpen arm that you can rely on felt so fucking good. And to have him just taken away for a guy who the idiots are going to say 213, 31, whatever batting average. Phil, preach some gospel to me right now.
So they're going to need roster spots for bullpen at the deadline anyway. You got Trevor May coming back. That's one roster spot. You're likely going to trade for one reliever at minimum, likely two. So you got to figure, okay, who's getting sent down, who's going away? Holderman, you can trade Holderman for Vogelbach, and it's as simple as that. Like you're going to plug in the bullpen later on. It's just like right now this week, yeah, there's a hole in there.
Right, We're treading water until the trade deadline because all these shitty teams are holding on to literally everybody until the last second because they know the top teams need their guys, and there's no incentive for them to do it right now.
And how many times do we love a Mets reliever for like 20 innings, and then he starts getting like overexposed, and we're like, oh, well, this ain't good. So.
Yeah, the Drew Smith corollary. I was going to call it out what it was. And, you know, and it doesn't matter because the Pirates are clearly on a different timeline than the Mets. He immediately gets sent down, right? They send Holderman down immediately. At this point, you have to believe that the GM, the scouts, everyone in the Mets department, if they thought Holderman was the dude, they're not going to give him up either because they know how hard it is to get bullpen arms. Now, if you have to give him up for a guy who's going to play every day, that's, you know, a Soto, forget about it, JD Martinez, Wilson Contreras, any of these guys that they're being linked to, that's a little different. But if you're giving him up 1-for-1 for Vogelbach, who, by the way, has a couple more years of team control left, which does mean something here. Holderman had 5 years left, but if you're getting a Maybach, you're getting, and when I want a bullpen arm, I want an oh shit guy, a guy that you're saying you're seeing the gun, you're getting the little flames on Fox. I don't think they do that anymore. I don't know if does Fox even have the playoffs anymore? That's how long it's been since the Mets are in the playoffs. I don't even know where the games are anymore. I know they're on TBS when Ronnie's on. Does Fox still have baseball? I know Joe Buck's done there. It just doesn't feel right.
It's Fox baseball without Joe Buck. It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the All-Star game. It did feel weird, right? I'm not the only one who felt like that.
It felt absolutely weird.
Yeah. For all the shit Joe Buck took, and for the people who are watching on YouTube, again, subscribe. I'm put up Vogelbach's baseball savant numbers. 95 chase rate. The higher numbers are good out of 100. His chase rate's elite. His walking percentage is elite. His sprint speed. Not elite. Very, very bad.
Bullshit on that. I saw it with my own eyes.
That's true. We did have, and we already had our first incredible Vogelbach memory. He gets the first hit of the game, which breaks up the no-hitter. Standing applause. Let's see. I threw a couple nicknames out there. What I had Vogel Snack. I had the Great Dan Bino, Dan Big Vogelbach in terms of our damn big cats, which I always love when people call him that in the media. There's a ton of different nicknames out there. It's just good juju to have a big guy, right? And then if anyone's looking at this, like, that's a lot of red right there, which I like to see out of a guy. Seeing him even last night for the first time, it's like I thought he was either going to hit home run or he like took close pitches, which it's like that's what this team does. It grinds out at bats, except unlike most of the guys in this lineup, this guy might occasionally put one over the wall, which is such a crazy thing to see for the Mets these days. I love Vogelbach. I imagine you guys are in the Phil. Am I loving Vogelbach as much as I should?
Well, you should. He's a guy that, like I said, like near 900 OPS versus righties. He's literally a perfect. He replaces Dom Smith. That's really all it is. It's, I think, a good version of Dom Smith. That's what Vogelbach is.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like Vogelbach is what we wanted Dom to be, right? We're gonna get that out of him, and then the guy we're going to get from the right side of the plate was the guy we're going to want JD to be, and then some, hopefully, where I want a guy who can hit even better than, like, that's crazy to say because I think JD did have that one awesome year, but I want a guy who's much more reliable than JD Double Davis was during, 2019 at this point was the last time we saw that dude.
Year, so that can tell you a lot.
Exactly.
Vogelbach is like the Juan Uribe pickup for me. Like, and I thought they were comparable. I just Googled how big Vogelbach is versus Uribe. Uribe weighed 225 pounds when he played for the Mets. Guess how much Vogelbach weighs right now? And usually they undercut it.
They're nice. They're being polite, right? With that.
270 pounds.
He's 270.
6 foot 270. He's every bit of that, man. When he's running, he is a tank.
We could be fucking Daniel Jones for all I care.
Yeah. If you want work during the fall here, the Giants can always use more offensive linemen. We also have we got the picture of Vogelbach where he was dressed up as Chris Farley from the Chippendales sketch, which is absolutely fucking incredible. Obviously, you have the picture of him in that like onesie or whatever. The guy just fucking plays. He's what every team, you need to have a guy that keeps the boys loose, get into October. Everyone's having fun. I feel like that's the one thing that is probably with this team. Last year, we heard how much the team liked each other. And then all we heard in the winter is how much they fucking hated each other or just hated the stuff. So I do trust Epler in terms of he's building the team the right way here. And yeah, we have Vogelbach. Oh, and that's the other thing. We got to pump the book. I feel like we're going to have Vogelbach in the book every single day for a home run until he hits his first home run.
Who hits a home run first, him or Dom?
My sweet Kyle. My sweet Kyle. If Dom was in single A, I would still take Vogelbach first. And he was playing every day. And Vogelbach was just playing against righties, which I think we have a righty game 1 against the Yankees, right?
No, it's Jordan Montgomery tomorrow night.
Now.
Oh, I thought he was the next game. Okay.
Domingo Germán's Wednesday, so that could be a big Vogelbach game.
Domingo Germán. Okay. So Subway Series preview. We'll get into that now. Taijuan Walker, Jordan Montgomery. Again, we missed their 2 big dogs. Now they're missing Jake, even though the entire world has missed Jake so far. Taijuan Walker, I believe I saw the graphic. 4th in the National League in ERA right now. He's third. It's top 5. He's definitely top 5.
He's a very good pitcher this year.
Yeah. Taijuan Walker, actually good. Jordan Montgomery, fucked up fact about Jordan Montgomery. I have him on my fantasy team. He is playing for the New York Yankees, who last I saw were, I believe, 65-30, around there, 35 games above 500. His record, 3-2 with a 3.24 ERA. That's fucking impossible. That is Jacob deGrom 2018 or whenever those goddamn years were, except it's worse than that because the Mets weren't 35 games above 500. So I will take that weird juju that is apparently going around with Jordan Montgomery. I don't know if the bats go to sleep. I don't know if the bullpen blows the games. The Yankees bullpen seems like bulletproof, or at least it was before they lost. Who did they just lose again?
The Orioles on Saturday night.
No. Who's the reliever? Michael King. They lost Michael King. So I don't know if he's just if the bullpen's coughing it up, if the bats go silent, a whole bunch of everything. But it's kind of good to have that. The one thing I'm worried about, and you guys let me know. The Mets put out a tweet and they said new profile pic. It's a black and white picture of the logo. Are we wearing the fucking black uniforms against the Yankees in the Subway Series?
I think that's what they're teasing. And instantly I was like, it's just going to give everybody PTSD flashbacks to the World Series. No?
That was my second question. Did the person who thought of that watch the 2000 World Series? Because there's a chance they didn't. Let me tell you, as someone that was alive for the 2000 World Series, I never want to see those black uniforms against the New York Yankees uniforms ever again for the rest of my fucking life. Because I'm going to think of John Franco coming on the 8th with the lead, Armando Benitez coming on the 9th, a 3,000 pitch at bat against Paulie fucking O'Neill, and the fucking Mets losing. Timo Perez watching the ball go off the top of the wall. I don't need to see the goddamn black. Okay, I'm sorry. I
want me to give you a quick refresher? They wore the black jerseys last year versus the Yankees on a Friday night and blew them out. So that's a positive, positive vibe.
I forgot about that they brought him back last year.
Okay. I feel bad now. I got a little upset. I hurt my hand a little bit. I think I scared my kids who I can hear upstairs right now. This is, I guess, this team is different, right? But let's just try to avoid giving us 2000 flashbacks for the people. It's like putting up fireworks during the 4th of July. Dogs don't want to hear that shit. Same with me watching the goddamn Subway Series with the black and white jerseys. Yankees are 5-5 in their last 10 that we talked about. They've been kind of slipping a little bit. We're 6-4. We're by no means great, but this is the time I want to this is could be famous last words, but if I'm going to face the Yankees, this is the time I want to face the Yankees. Their bullpen's in a little bit of upheaval right now with an injury. They're not have the Yankees ever been 4-6 in their last 10 at all this season? I feel like it might be mathematically impossible. They've been a fucking wagon since day one. Remember opening day, everyone was getting their jokes off of the Yankees, and they won the game. It's they've just been enough.
Maybe they're only bad stretches, right before Tommy said he's done with the Yankees this year back in April when they lost the series to the Orioles.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I think at worst it's probably 4-6. You don't have that type of record by putting up anything that's 3 and whatever, as far as I know. And they had They had the 14-game run straight, so maybe after that, but I don't think so. They're scary. I'm glad that we scored a bunch of runs the last game, but all that being said, I'm not comfortable with our offense right now as it is because they're both on contact. Pete had a big blast off. We needed that, but we do need somebody else to step up and start hitting some home runs because the Yankees, that's all they do.
Yeah, you can't just survive with, 1-2 runs a game against the Yankees. Even with our pitching being awesome, I'm sure they'll show up. Max is pitching on Wednesday, right? Has it been confirmed?
Yep, Wednesday.
So
Buck said that's his normal day. If anything pops up, God forbid. But yeah, you can expect Max Wednesday.
yeah, and Max is going to be a fucking psycho for this shit. And I'll deal with Herman and Montgomery, both with 3.24 ERAs, which is kind of weird there. But I could see the offense doing the same thing, going into its shell against the Yankees. Always have had just good bullpens. I feel like that's one thing Cashman has done. I won't mind seeing Aroldis Chapman on the mound, though. That's the one thing. Big game.
Only one reliever the Yankees have right now. It's really like, oh, we're fucked. That's Clay Holmes. Everyone else, you should be able to score off them.
Yeah, and I feel like Clay Holmes, I think Chuck was telling me, he says every time I turn on the Yankee game, Clay Holmes is pitching. I don't know if that's true or not. If you're going to keep using that arm, Cashman, keep using that arm. Unfortunately, I'm hoping we're going to get Kevin on. I said, Kev, you got to come on at some point today. He's in LA. I said, you just got to come on. You got to give your Yankee spiel. I know he's going to have his Yankees rant. I have learned to put these guys out of my head. I'm in Cohen Lina. It's 75 degrees and sunny. I'm not dealing with it right now, but I could tell a lot of other people. I know these two games, it's going to be a fucking battle online, right? It's going to be the Yankee fans talking shit. It's going to be us talking shit. The Yankee fans back and forth every single time. People that I like on Twitter, but I hate them that they're Yankees fans. They're going to be pissing me off. It's going to be very interesting. There's only one person who won't be saying anything negative about the New York Mets. You know who that guy is? Franklin the Tanklin Fleming. For the people who did not see on the blog or on Twitter, I have once again retired Frank for the rest of not only July as it was, but he's now off for the rest of August. He said Jacob deGrom would not pick up a baseball again. He'd be shut down for the week on Thursday, shut down for the season on Thursday after the reports of his sore shoulder came up. Jacob deGrom did pitch on Thursday. Phil, what did Jacob deGrom do on Thursday?
He had pitched into the 5th inning of his sim game, and he struck out basically every minor leaguer he faced.
So, yeah, and that everything was fine. He said he felt good. He's going to do at least one more start, which would be perfect here, and then we're going to go from there. So for the people that want to listen to Frank the Tank, you will not be hearing any negativity out of him. However, he did tell me, he DM'd me last night, and he said if Joely Rodriguez blew that Padres game last night, he was done. He was already looking into Braves hats, and that's the thing. If Frank breaks the truce, he has to wear a Braves hat all the way until September now. I don't think I would have honestly blamed him. If the Mets blew that game last night against the Padres, knowing.
But once Edwin Diaz came in, I was like, it's over anyway. So it didn't really matter.
And that's the best part is even in those kind of games where it feels like if Diaz has that moment where it all falls apart because it's just a comedy of errors and just something weird. Nope, just comes on in. They make contact on 2 of his pitches, right? And it's like, oh, he only has 1 strikeout. It's just so fucking nice to have a guy like this. We deserve a guy like this more than anybody. And I know we probably all have tweets from 2019. I'll stand by those tweets from 2019. He was fucking awful in 2019. And he is. Do you think he can get into the Cy Young conversation if Alcantara cools off or something? Or you think it's just one of those things? Because
no, relievers are not going to win a Cy Young in this era. The closest one was maybe 2016 Zach Britton, but we're never going to see a reliever win Cy Young, unfortunately.
You don't bring up that name or that year with our manager. We cannot say that name. We cannot talk about 2016.
He was a great pitcher in 2016.
I know, Phil. Every Orioles fan tells me every time they posted highlight without rights of me hitting a bomb is fake and win Encarnacion. That was a buck fuck up. I feel like he's learning how to use Diaz. That's why you're seeing him in the 8th inning. I could see that game 1 or 2 this week where it's, Stanton, Judge coming up in a big inning here, and we have Diaz pitching the 8th. I think I could get that. I don't know who the fuck's going to pitch the 9th because I don't have any faith. I think Seth Lugo's a 6th inning guy. I think Drew Smith is a 7th inning guy. Do we have an 8th inning guy? Who's our 8th inning guy right now? Oh my God. And it can't be against the lefty, right? Because that ball is just coming right in against the lefties.
That slider's useless to left-handers, but yeah, whatever.
He does have balls though. I tweeted this at the time during that Cubs game. Ottavino in that game that they won, he pitched 2 innings, and in that fucking last inning with the man on second, he was fucking nails. And I want Mets fans to remember that, not only during the good times, but I want them to remember in the bad times or when you're just not sure about him. It's like the guy has come through. We can't just shit on him. He does piss us off sometimes. Phil, have you made any peace with Ottavino in the last?
He's like second in the trust tree probably right now, but like
if you're waiting on May to come back to fill that role, like we've got bigger problems.
Oh yeah, it's not even. I'm not expecting May to fill that role. I'm expecting a guy they trade for like a David Robertson or something. And there we go. We got Kevin.
Speaking of a role to fill, we have our designated Yankees hater on the line, Kevin Clancy, calling all the way from fucking La La Land in Los Angeles. Hit us with it, Kev. There you go. Is that Shake Shack?
In and
out. Yeah.
I got my In and Out shake. The burgers are great, but I think the shakes deserve more love. We should be talking about the shakes more than anything. This touchdown, and I'm like just realizing that this whole Yankee series, I'll be on West Coast time, which is just going to be a fucking debacle for me. But catch me up to speed. What are we doing here? Where are we at?
All right, so we kind of just touched. We talked about the Padres series, how it was like bleeding us, bled our souls out, right? And we're happy it's over. We're very happy it's over. If Joely Rodriguez,
the Padres might be a little Cubs-esque. I'm hoping, like beat the shit out of us in the regular season, and maybe by the grace of God, if we meet them in the postseason, it just flips. Remember that in 2015, and then we went 0-7 against the Cubs, and then we swept them in the NLCS. So the only thing I can hope is that, because while the Dodgers are the fucking Dodgers, and if God willing, if we ever made it to the World Series, the Astros are terrifying. But the Padres, just when a team has your number sometimes, there's just nothing you can do about it. That's why salvaging that game and doing it in such a big way was a lot, because otherwise I thought the Padres were just going to be like Met killers. But yeah, like Hosmer, goodbye. See you fuckers later. Don't need to worry about you. Hopefully we just don't meet you in the playoffs and we never fucking see you again.
If they had said that Dom trade was going to be Dom for Hosmer, Paddock, and whoever the reliever was, and they were going to then trade Hosmer to a Japanese team just to get him the fuck out of the major leagues, I would have been like sold. And that was when I thought Dom was good instead of utter trash. So yeah, that would have been great. And then we said, so we have Taijuan Walker versus Jordan Montgomery and Scherzer versus Domingo Germán the next two games. I said, I like that we have I feel like we have the better pitchers in both those matchups. The Yankees are 5-5 in their last 10, and their bullpen just took a hit with King getting hurt. However, there's rumors that they may be wearing the black jerseys against the Yankees this series. And Kevin, what are your thoughts on the New York Mets wearing black jerseys against the Yankees in a Subway Series?
Well, you saw that did you see what they did with the logo and the Twitter, Abby?
Yeah. It's like black and white.
Yeah, with the black and white. So that's got to have something to do with the black jerseys. I mean, you know me on these things. I just don't get worked up about it. What people wanted to be more classic and not black jerseys against the Yankees?
Oh, no, Kevin. I got worked up about it. I think I broke my hand, and I apologize for anyone whose ears I blew out when I was saying it. I said, did the person who came up with this watch the 2000 World Series? Because I think of Timo fucking Perez wearing those jerseys. I was just going to say,
the first thing that comes to mind is Timo Perez not running home. But also, what comes to mind is being in the fucking World Series and that team, everything up until that point. It does evoke. It was black jerseys, no names, right? Didn't they do that?
They might have done it at some point. I don't know if they did in the World Series. They might have done it at some point. Phil said that they did beat them last year with the black jerseys in that Subway. That crazy fucking that game was nuts on Friday night. The 9-11 game that kind of went back and forth, and then the Lindor 3-home run game on Sunday. Which I mean, if Frankie fucking does that again, put his fuck number next to Keith.
What we've learned is obviously the offense goes as guys like Lindor and Pete are going to go, I mean, there's a couple big boppers in the middle and they all went cold for a pretty fucking long time. And that's where you're going to see troubles with the offense. If they're going to burst out though, it's a good time to fucking do it. It's a good time to get it rolling. And I really do think the Yankees have come back down to earth in a lot of ways, whether it's injuries or just losing regular games, getting swept in double headers, losing games to the Orioles and the Reds, the Astros just kind of right on their heels. It's, I can't believe it, we went from 98 Yankees to you're still good and you're going to make the playoffs and everything. But it's just crazy how fast baseball, it seems, it's almost like working out. You work out, it takes forever to fucking get in shape, and then it takes like 2 seconds for you to lose it. It feels like that in baseball, where it's like you're all the 1 minute you're going to be a Hall of Fame, like 120 win team, and then like 1 or 2 bad stretches, and it's like, well, you might not even have home field. It's crazy how.
Yeah, the Astros are only a game and a half behind the Yankees, so that's like nuts. Unbelievable to think about.
That's why the Yankees are 5-5. The Astros are the scariest team in baseball. I need them to add exactly nobody, because if they add on to what they already have, I don't know if you beat that team regardless.
I got bad news about that. Josh Bell may be going to Houston.
Oh, God damn it. Yeah. Oh, God damn it. I'm not
like reporting. I'm just saying it's like I would not be shocked if Houston gets Josh Bell.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this, guys. Mets clinch a World Series spot. We're in there ready, and it's Game 7, Yankees, Astros, bases loaded, Chapman pitching, and you just know that he could give up a bomb at any time. Do you want to face the Astros or the Yankees in the World Series? Wow, I got you guys at that one. I want to see the chat. Would you guys rather face the Astros or the Yankees in the World Series? This is way too early to be saying this. You have to put in all the stuff, the Civil War in New York versus, Yordan Alvarez motherfucking us and dog walking us nonstop. You're dealing with Verlander. We saw everything they fucking did to us those 4 games.
I'm going to say the Yankees because they're a more strikeout heavy team. Like the Astros could just figure out a way to put the ball in play and beat you. But if we're there, then we definitely have Jake back. We definitely have Max back. And then we have one other horse going where it's like you could easily win a game against those teams with those guys striking them out. And then we just find a way to score some runs. The Astros, on the other hand, are just like that pesky lineup that it doesn't matter who you're going to throw out there. They're going to figure out a way to nickel and dime you and keep themselves in it.
Yeah. Jose Altuve. By the way, the chat is a straight Yankees sweep right now. Everyone wants the Yankees. What about you, Phil?
If we have Jake and Max, I don't care who we're playing at that.
Yeah, then we shouldn't get to Game 7.
I like that. I kind of do. There is a part of me that kind of loves when they talk about the 86 series against the Astros. I would love to see that storyline get brought up just because they did beat that motherfucker Mike Scott. However, Phil, you always tweet, it's there's some, and it could just be pure cheating. It's like some science lab in Houston. They just fix all these ex-Pirates and they turn them into Darth Vader. They just become these, any player they take, it's touching gold. And it goes from there. Altuve would drive me bananas during a World Series.
Look at the players they've lost over the years. They've lost Cole, Springer, Correa, Greinke, and they've replaced them all. It's nothing. It makes no sense.
You know who they got rid of? That was a first-round pick.
Who?
JD Davis.
Oh, yeah.
That's not panning out.
Yep.
And they couldn't fix him. I don't think we're going to fix him.
And as much as I'd love to say Dusty Baker will probably fucks things up in a Dusty Baker fashion, I'm scared of Aaron Boone on the other side of the dugout either. So a Yankees Mets World Series would be interesting. And with those power arms and the strikeouts, it might be the pick. I don't know. But like you said, Phil, let's worry about ourselves. The other guy that I believe it was did the Astros fix him? Did the Astros fix JD Martinez? Because I remember on a fantasy, he changed his swing.
The opposite. They
couldn't fix JD.
Was awful on the Astros. Then they went to the Tigers and learned from Miguel Cabrera how to be good.
There we go. Okay, so trade deadline talk. Let's start talking some names here, some things we might want, some players. I wanted to get Kevin's take on Vogelbach. We'll see if we get him back on. We lost him for people that can't see that are listening to the pod. I wanted to hear Kevin where his mental headspace is just about the Yankees right now. I guess it must be pretty good if he's not saying we're going to get swept. And because I don't know about Kyle, you remember this, where he's like, oh, here we go. It's the Yankees are going to win the World Series. Every single year we had Kevin fucking chicken littling us anytime the Yankees got hot. So we'll see if he hops on back on for that. Sounds like Josh Bell. There was rumors it was 2 Mets prospects in the minors, high up in the minors for Bell and a reliever. Said do the Nets even have a good reliever that we would want? Because I don't know.
The 2 prospects that we would have been sending to Washington would be on their major league roster with ease. I'll say that much, which isn't a shocker. But I'm not counting on Josh Bell. The Nats didn't like that offer, so. We're just moving on.
Cross off Josh Bell from your wish list.
I'm at this point, I'm already expecting Josh Bell to end up in Houston. Yeah. So the guys the Mets are interested in: Trey Mancini, JD Martinez, CJ Cron. They like Wilson Contreras because they may not think Alvarez is ready this year, which I think we're seeing. Like, they trade for Michael Perez. Like, they may not even have any plans for Alvarez this year. And if that's the case, yes, Wilson Contreras, perfect. I don't care. Have him as a rental. That's fine. And then bullpen arms. Robertson, Mantiply. They like Jorge Lopez, but the Orioles are still in like this. Do we want to sell or not? So those are just a bunch of guys.
Okay, so the Contreras part. McCann, have we gotten a timeline on McCann in terms of his injury?
I'm not expecting him ever again.
He's going the Jed Lowry route. Might never see him back.
Max Scherzer took 7 weeks to come back from an oblique strain. How long is James McCann going to take to come back from that?
This is a fair point. We sacrificed McCann for that Cubs game, which may not even mean anything down the road in terms of the standings.
No, we sacrificed him for Keith Hernandez Day.
Oh, that's right. It was Keith Hernandez.
It was worth it 100%.
Okay, so I'm at the. I didn't want to give up anything for anything crazy for Contreras. Now he's a rental, and I also don't know how many teams are going to need catcher. I'm like thinking about the Braves have 2 fucking guys. They have his goddamn brother, who stole Edwin Diaz's song, and they have our old catcher. That is some fucked up juju. As I'm just saying this out loud, the Braves have those 2 guys as their goddamn catchers. The Cardinals, I feel like Yachty is always just going to be like their backup, even if they're not playing him every game. I don't really know the catching situation around the league. I don't know if I don't know how heavy Contreras is going to come in, but I guess the thing with him and JD, who's a very good rental, is I feel like your rentals, I don't have to worry about Alvarez going. The fact Alvarez hasn't come up now after Nito got hurt with a bruised hand in his catching hand, and they just traded for some bum from the Pirates, who Pirates fans were like, hey man, happy you guys have Vogelbach. He's awesome. He's great. You're going to love him. And then they're like, oh, Perez, he stinks. You're not going to need him at all. I don't think he even had good framing numbers. Contreras, I could talk myself into. Kyle, is there anyone that you want of the guys Phil just listed in terms of either the bullpen or the bats?
I mean, in an ideal world, we could get Lopez, but I do think it's probably going to be a stretch for them. He's got a 9.3 ERA, or that's what he was the last time I pulled it up. Fulmer, obviously, because Detroit is floundering, so we could get any of those guys. Amir Garrett is on nobody's radar for some reason or another. I don't know why that's the case, but he's not. We'd have him until 2023. So there's some guys that are out there that I feel like nobody's talking about on teams that suck, and I don't know if it's maybe just like they're not shipping them out anytime soon, and like they're just gonna stay pat, or what the deal is. Phil, you might be able to speak to that more. Like, why haven't Amir Garrett? You would think is on most people's radar.
I just really took one look at his baseball reference, like ERA over 6, but
lefties are hitting 91 against them.
That's what I mean. Like his FIP is like a 3.5, so maybe like
I want somebody that's a steal like that, where it's like we need a guy who could pitch to lefty batters. They're hitting literally 091,
It's 7 walks per 9 innings. That would scare the fuck out of me. But
and
other than that, Bass, top of my list if we could get him, because and ideally before we're about to play the Marlins.
yeah, just so he can't face us, because I feel like we could hit anyone in that bullpen except for that motherfucker, because he just locks us down. A lot of people in the chat are saying Contreras. A Cubs fan says Contreras is either going to the Mets or Astros. I guess I don't know if that's something that's been that like people are gathering through reports and stuff. Contreras has a 1,000 OPS against lefties, so we'll definitely take that. The Robertson piece as well makes a lot of sense. Am I crazy? Like, I don't think it's greedy to want. Here, this Pigs Cast said Contreras, Robertson, and Mancini. I don't think that's.
I want all 3 of those. I don't care.
Yes. Yep. That's the price of having Uncle Stevie, whether we're giving up stuff, we're paying, we're taking back a bad contract as well. I want to be the team. Like the Yankees are this way. Every single trade deadline, like, how the fuck did they get those 3 guys when they were rumored to get one of them? I want to just go crazy. And at the end, I don't want to have to be worrying about the offense. If the offense didn't score more than 3 runs last night, I would be very, very worried about this series against the Yankees. And it's just one game that they did that in.
All those players listed, they're all rentals. Like Mancini's a rental DH, maybe he could play outfield or so, but his main position would be DH, you'd figure. Contreras, he's a rental catcher. Robertson, he's a rental reliever. Rental relievers go for nothing. So they should have the prospect capital to trade for all those guys.
But that's the thing, though. Who do you think? There's got to be somebody big that gets shipped. Who is it?
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if you see Ryan Mauricio get moved into this I can't speak at this deadline, mainly because his prospect stock has plummeted, and if you can find a team that could buy on him now at his old value, you just take it and run.
Not to mention, there's nowhere for him to fill.
Yes.
Yep. And like Juan Soto is the guy. I mean, if you listen to the last episode, we basically were willing to trade like humans on this podcast for Juan Soto. My childs are on the trading block for Juan Soto. He is because you're getting him as 23 years old. Uncle Stevie is not going to let him leave until he's 40 or so. And he's not going to the Cardinals. He's not going to the, Yankees or whatever. He's coming to the New York Mets, and you're building around him. And once he goes to another team, at that point, you're just like, I hope he doesn't sign an extension, because then I know he will come here once he hit free agency. I don't think Uncle Stevie's going to get outbid. The best case scenario for Soto, other than the Mets, I think we can all agree is the Rangers. Just out of sight, out of mind, not to a rival, not to a team that will be facing us potentially in the World Series if we make it this year. That feels like it has to be.
I think the best case, even though we played them a few times after, but if he just stays in Washington just through the end of the season, like there's no trade now, and then they revisit this in the offseason where, all these guys that were just drafted, they can now be in the player pool that you could send to Washington.
I think we're honestly getting to that point too. We're seeing that like from the Nats, because it feels like it should have already been done, like pulled the trigger, unless they're waiting for somebody to get really desperate and just ultimately throw in whoever else they're asking for. They're asking for a king's ransom, and every team's like, well, I guess I don't need that right now, but obviously it'd be nice in the offseason.
They're basically asking for a brand new team to fill and your prospects. So it's and for you to take on Patrick Corbin for 2 more years.
Okay, so that takes me to this next one. I just saw this in the chat. Charlie Ruby. Do you guys want Jason Hayward? Love the guy, but he's our only big contract. Now, if that's what you have to do in order to get Contreras and Robertson for a song, I'll tell you, as our last outfielder, we just eat the money and throw him to fucking Syracuse. And the Braves juju. Do not discount the Braves juju of that guy, because remember, he was a Brave when he came up.
People forget he gave that great speech to the Cubs, and that's the entire reason that they won the World Series.
That's true, Kyle. That's
Everybody
true.
forgets about that.
That's true. Jared Cooper here said Perez, the guy we got from he said he's not great for the majors, but he's a fantastic clubhouse guy. He worked with him in Reno and AAA. He's popular. Get guys that if they can't hit, they can't field, they can't pitch, whatever, at least let them be able to be good at talking, right?
Right.
Yeah, and if Hayward's like the less than the prospect cost, where Steve Cohen just flex how much money he makes, that's fine by me. I just don't want him like getting actual at bats if that's the case. If in this hypothetical.
Yes, 100%. Don't want to see him. I don't want to see him wearing a uniform. I don't want him naked. I just want him like basically wearing like a nice Mets fucking jacket, and he can wear whatever kind of pants he wants. But yeah, 100%. Mark Melancon,
$184 million for 8 years.
Mark Melancon, I do not want any piece of him. I asked Frank like 2 weeks ago, Frank, what relievers do you want at the deadline? First guy name off his head is Mark Melancon, so right off the bat, I do not want Mark Melancon.
Yeah, Pigs gets Mark Melancon. He also said bringing back Fulmer, which we talked about with Castellani. That does feel like a little mojo play, which I could definitely get down for. He's been good this year. I don't think he's a guy that's going to be in their like long-term plans whenever the hell Detroit's going to contend again. But I don't know. I think we're all rooting. Mets Sox connection. I am stronger about the Mets Sox connection than most. I think most Mets fans are cool with the Red Sox, and I think a good amount of Red Sox fans are cool with the Mets. I do think there is like a Patriots-Jets rivalry that then spills over between the two. But I love the Red Sox. Our motto is fuck the Yankees. That's the official motto of the Mets Sox connection. We are rooting against the Red Sox every single day from here on out until the trade deadline. Because I think, does JD Martinez become the best bat out of the names that's out there? Because I as someone that's casually watching, I remember he was unbelievable to start the season. I feel like he is a legit difference maker with his bat.
I get torn between him and Trey Mancini. JD's the better bat, but the other thing is he's strictly DH. Like, we aren't putting JD Martinez in the outfield, where Trey Mancini, he can play first, right, left. JD Martinez would be strictly DH, but we basically use JD Davis for that anyway. But then there's the harm of, okay, Vogelbach can't play the field and JD Martinez can't play the field. I'd like to have both of them. It'd make a lot of sense, but
and we're the juiced up 2015 Mets, where these guys are better bats than we have, but they can't play a lick of fucking defense. And then they get banished to the left field like Dom was a couple years earlier and shit like that.
I mean, they've taken defense pretty seriously this year. It's not like they've been playing like scrubs like out in left field. It's not like we've had like Dom Smith in left field or any of that. Like, no, everybody's basically playing the position they're supposed to.
And you like
his power numbers are like comically down right now. I mean, he's still hitting for average because he's a professional baseball player, but like I want him, but it's more of the same if he doesn't come in and like he needs to hit for power. Otherwise, he's the same as like my Marcana. I'm like great for all the doubles and the single and stuff, but like at the same time, you got to start driving in runs.
I don't know about you guys, but Trey just feels like the guy. He felt like the guy when he was the first one.
Guy.
Yeah, he's Buck's guy, and if Buck wants him, I want him, and I've heard Buck does want him, and there's just something about that, and you can play him. I mean, as good a story as you're gonna get. Seems like an awesome dude. I know he follows Barstool, so I like that's the little things that really make it for me. He doesn't hate our guts like some other players in the league, so that makes a big difference here. And like the other thing that drove me crazy is everyone's like, "Oh, this is the move. Vogelbach's the move," and it's like, in what world was Vogelbach going to be the only move? And I'm sure Braves fans were losing their shit when they were just adding, a couple pieces, and those pieces went on and took them to a fucking World Series. There's different ways to build this puzzle. It doesn't have to be stars. If you play the platoons right, or you just build the right offense and defense, you can win a fucking World Series with it.
The Braves trades last year started with Jock Peterson the first day of the deadline for some guy you'll never hear of. He'll never make the major leagues.
Yep.
And then it was like Adam Duvall for some AA backup catcher that sucks. I don't even think he's in baseball anymore. Jorge Soler, I forgot what they even gave up for him, but he sucks.
We had you on the podcast, remember? Because Kevin was losing
all those guys the Braves got because I was like, they're like at best average guys.
Yeah, and all the guys they gave up were absolutely nothing. I remember like people were saying, "Oh no, the guy the Marlins got was like a 150 hitter."
Alex Jackson is not a major leaguer. He was a AA catcher that hit us last year.
So and was ready to punt on the entire season. He wanted them to trade Freeman last year at the All-Star break. I remember having the conversation clear as day. I'm like, listen, the Mets are good, but they're not a first-place team. I don't think that they're going to punt on the whole year. I think that you guys have a shot. It's like, no, we're so out of it. And then all those guys come up and produce. And it's like, if you even look for 15, like Cespedes overshadowed everybody else, but like Kelly Johnson, Juan Uribe, you always need those people that are just going to like randomly be good. Hopefully that's Vogelbach.
Yeah.
But we need an actual name.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Again, I feel like Uncle Stevie does give us a little towards that. I don't know if the Braves GM just knew how to fleece these guys. It did feel like a fleecing at the time. And I saw Patrick wrote about this, Joe Manaply from the D-backs. I know nothing about him. I don't know nothing about
He's an all-star. That's all I need to know.
That's all I need. Yeah, that's all I need to know. Phil, is that like
Manaply is a left reliever I want the most because I think he has a few more years of control left. Andrew Chafin, the whole league is in on, so I'm not holding my breath there. The thing is, Manaply, he may cost a bit, and I don't know what that means.
Yeah, and I'm not a prospect hugger. I can live with it, especially if you're going for the series. If these guys have an extra year worth of control, Aaron, let's do an over under here, unless you know it. Over under Aaron Loop's current ERA. Gonna go 4 point. Or you guys give me what you think his ERA is, and then I'll let you know what it is.
I'm going to say it's like 4.09.
Kyle.
4.58.
Basically right in between, 4.36. So just a reminder for everyone that was freaking the fuck out about Aaron Loop leaving the Mets, who, by the way, 0.95 ERA last year is ridiculous just to see just in writing on Fangraphs. xERA 4.92, FIP 3.98, xFIP 3.8. So I guess it's a little better than
he's a fine reliever that hasn't pitched like to what he should be, but like he was never
even
that.
Said that when he left too. He was like, "There's no way I'm putting up those numbers again. Those were videos."
Yeah, he was literally Luis Rojas used him in literally the perfect situation every time. That's why he did that good.
Listen to what Phil just said. That Luis Rojas, he couldn't do many things well, but he knew how to use Aaron Loop.
That's why.
Like I could just see like they're like, Luis Key come in and he's like talking to Sandy Alderson and he's like, guys, did you see what I did with Aaron Loop this year? It's like, yeah, Luis, the other 24 guys, that was the problem. Yeah. That's why you were being let go right now. And I guess we alluded to this earlier with the Braves, but Adam Duvall out for the year. He's hurt. The Braves are just going to pick up another guy to do everything Adam Duvall does, if not better, right?
They'll fight for another right-handed left outfielder. Maybe like Brandon Drury could play left field or third base, but
yeah.
And then whoever the Braves get, I'm just prepared for them to fucking be assholes. So that's it.
Yeah. Did you guys see that quote when Austin Riley after the game they won a couple days ago, and he's like, "We're coming for them," talking about the Mets. And granted, they lost the next day. We won. It feels kind of good. But I would like that to be the next. Who's the talking? Was it Salakita? Salakita, I can't say his name. Who said that the division was over like May 1st or whatever the fuck it was?
Yeah,
Was that him?
Salicata on May
Yeah.
31st.
So May 31st. So I would love to have the Braves have an old take that gets exposed by the internet there. That would be nice. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all the big names that we've been hearing, right? I mean, I do think there is something big that could come up out of the blue, but is there anything else?
I don't think you're going to trade for a starting pitcher unless Jake just has a massive setback, which I'm not putting into the world. Not happening. So just fingers crossed Jake's okay, because they already have too many starting pitcher spots right now. They're moving David Pearson to the bullpen if Jake comes back. So.
And I know we said he's probably cooked, and I don't know if they would even push him into something like this because of the tear could take, and I don't know if he can even convert a guy like this. But I do feel like if he were able to come back healthy, I do feel like McGill would be a fucking great bullpen arm. The guy who throws like that and it's on short bursts. I mean, the guy was hit like 102 this year, I feel, right? So I know he was long tossing the other day. Has you guys heard any timeline about him?
I don't know when he'll be back. But
it's usually like one of those situations where if they're not giving you information on a daily basis, it's like they're not expecting it either.
Yeah. May potentially coming back, and at this point with May, when I see him, I'm not going to trust him, but I am going to think he could be that dude. I wouldn't even trust May in the 8th inning though. Like the 8th inning, I want a guy where you say holy shit, and I'm not looking for an Edwin Diaz level of holy shit, but I want a guy that is as close to what, like, this team with this owner deserves to have a guy that can go out there and just shove down people's fucking throats, along with a lefty that is as good as you're going to get against lefties for what's available right now, which, I mean, it sounds like, we got all-stars. That's all I need to hear, Phil. You told me it was an all-star. That's all I needed to hear.
I want pitching the 8th inning, Max Scherzer.
Yes, exactly. Scherzer, DeGrom on their fucking bullpen days. We just are going unit to shilling, just back and forth every fucking time when it matters. So yeah, I think we'll see what happens in a few days from now. Again, August 2nd is the deadline, so we'll probably talk about when the more names come out, or God willing, we'll have an emergency pod whenever another trade is announced. But as of now,
August 2nd is the deadline. August 2nd is the bar watch.
Oh, there we go.
Out. Well, we'll talk about whatever transpires.
Yep, come out. We'll talk about whatever transpires. We'll have the fucking emergency pod probably after the deadline. We should do like I would always think this. Imagine if we had done a live stream of that deadline with the Cespedes thing. Like that would have been, it would just been us like standing there for like an hour doing nothing, but it would have been absolute chaos once it comes through. So again, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, all that good stuff. Come out to Barstool, the Ballpark, August 6th. Post deadline Mets Braves has to look different than it looked last time, which looked pretty fucking good last time. And then we'll have that at the Barstool, the Ballpark. Again, get your tickets at Barstool, the Ballpark. Just Google Barstool, the Ballpark Mets. And again, $100, I believe, for ticket to the game. $18 worth of food vouchers you use anywhere in the ballpark. By the way, scan your ticket at the food vendors. We never told people to do that. That's how you pay for your food. You scan your ticket up at the section to get your bracelet. All you can drink from 6:10 till 9:10 or the 7th inning, whatever comes first. And a Jacob deGrom strikeout counter bobblehead that looks pretty fucking awesome. So here we go, boys. Yankees for 2 games. Going to be a fucking battleground on the internet. Phil will be fucking running a couple of baseball social accounts during it all, too. God, may God have mercy on your soul, Phil. It's going to be fucking crazy out there. And and Frank the Yank. Just retweet that Twitter account anytime something goes bad for the Yankees, and they can learn what it's been like for us Mets fans. So no matter what happens over the next 2 days, it's just 2 games against a fucking crosstown division rival that we fucking have despised our entire lives. No matter what, gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.